My name is Kerryann Ifill, Senator Ifill. I'm President of the Senate of Barbados, and I also serve as President of the Barbados Council for the Disabled and the current President of the Caribbean Council for the Blind. My substantive work is in assistive technology with the blind and visually impaired, but I also often act as a consultant on several other disability-related matters home in Barbados.
Tell me a little bit about the situation of data on persons with disabilities in Barbados.
Persons with disabilities in Barbados, I think the situation is comparable across the Caribbean region. Unemployment is severely high among the disabled community. There are not a lot of services that are offered that recognize us as consumers, just as service recipients. There are deficiencies in terms of access to justice, access to a whole load of different services. Things have improved. I think we can say that across the board in the Caribbean. In Barbados, definitely things have improved. We have ratified the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities 2 years now. We are in the process of drafting legislation with reference to that. We have programs that look at accessibility in hotels and in businesses. Our building code, which is still to be legislated, but it is being enforced now, it has sections on accessibility. So all in all, things have improved, but they're still far from perfect.
Okay, so tell me your opinion on a book such as this entitled Disability and Inequality. What specifically would you look forward to unearthing from this book?
I'd look forward to unearthing where the inequalities are. What is the perception? What is the perspective on disability? Not just by the disabled community, but by the community. One of the things that I have an issue with, sometimes we treat persons with disabilities as though they're separate entities from the rest of the community. We're not. And we often expect that they will have different value structures and different interests. If you've been a member of the society all along and you've acquired a disability or a child with a disability, or you're growing up in a society where disability is negatively looked at, you can't help but look at yourself negatively. You can be brought around to a better way of thinking eventually. But all in all, at the beginning of the day, you're going to have a negative outlook on things. So that is part of the thing I'd like to unearth. How are we actually seen in the society? What is our perception of ourselves? What are their perceptions of us? I'd like to learn more about the levels of inequality in terms of education, healthcare, employment, access to having a quote-unquote normal life as a person with a disability. I'd like to see how we are counted in our societies, what roles we play, what contributions we make as persons with disabilities, and how society values and judges those contributions.
What do you think are some of the implications for public policy in terms of findings on inequality? And is there any ease with which changes can be made?
I think in terms of public policy, I think information like this can impact on it, because if you don't know, then you're thinking of things in absentia, you're thinking of things outside of your, because let's face it, the only reason people find out anything about disabilities is if they have a personal interest. The number of persons in the wider society who just wake up one day and say, you know what, I think I'm going to go find out about disabilities, they're very, 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 very few. They have been impacted in some way by the concept of disability. And so public policy is not influenced as much as it should be, because they don't know what is going on in our community. So I think a book like this could impact on it, because it would give them some of the information that they're missing when they're making their judgments and making their policies and decisions on persons with disabilities. The way that we were 20, 30, 40 years ago is not the way that we are now. What should be expected of us shouldn't have been less than, but it definitely should be way higher now. So when you take all of those things into consideration, I definitely think that this book has strong implications for how policies can be adapted.